I never meant to hurt you. I just didn't care enough to avoid it. She laughed when I confronted her about the affair. I began packing without saying anything. Her laughter stopped, and her face went pale. I told her, I didn't mean to leave you. I just don't care enough not to, and then I walked out. Before we continue, viewers, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. If you have a story of your own, feel free to send it to me. My contact details are in the description below, and I'd be glad to feature it in a future video. Thank you. The key was under the mat, exactly where I said it would be. My return flight from the Denver conference had been cancelled and then restored, which meant I landed at midnight instead of 4 p.m. I texted her from the airport but didn't get a response. That wasn't unusual for a Friday night. She was likely out with friends, her phone lost at the bottom of a glittery clutch. All I wanted was my bed. The quiet of our apartment felt like relief after 3 days of forced networking. I set my suitcase down by the door. The sound echoed too loudly in the stillness. That's when I noticed them. 2 wine glasses on the coffee table, one marked with a lipstick stain the shade of crushed berries. Her shade. A man's leather jacket hung over the back of her reading chair. It wasn't mine. A cold, empty vibration formed in my chest. I walked down the hallway on autopilot. The bedroom door was slightly open. The scene was predictable. Her back faced me as she slept, with the solid outline of a man beside her. His arm rested across her waist. On the floor, a used condom wrapper reflected the street light slipping through the blinds. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. The vibration inside me only grew louder, drowning out everything else. I backed away quietly, returned to the living room, and sat on the couch beside the dirty glasses. I waited. About an hour later, I heard movement. The bathroom light turned on, then off. He walked out shirtless and froze when he saw me. He was younger, with carefully kept stubble meant to look effortless. He said nothing and rushed back down the hall. I heard hurried whispers. Maya came out alone, wrapped in a silk robe. Her face shifted from panic to defiance. The man, Jake, I'd later learn, slipped past me with his jacket and shoes, avoided eye contact, and let himself out. The door closed. The silence returned, heavier this time. How long? I asked. My voice sounded calm and unfamiliar. Leo, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. How long? She folded her arms tightly. A few times. It didn't mean anything. Months? Weeks? 3 months. A sharp laugh tried to rise, but I swallowed it. 3 months. During that time, I'd been in Denver presenting the project that would secure funding for my team. The one I worked on late for weeks. The one she called, "your boring spreadsheets," before kissing me. I'd thought that kiss meant support. Now I understood it as dismissal. Why? I asked. She threw her hands up. Because you're here, but you're not really here. You're always in your head, focused on work, on being quiet. Jake is present. He's exciting. So this is my fault. I didn't say that. You always twist things to make me the bad one. She paced while talking. It just happened. I didn't plan it. I watched her. The woman I moved cities for. The one whose father I drove to chemotherapy every week for a month. The person I pictured a future with was fading into someone rehearsing a familiar excuse. Are you in love with him? What? No. It's just different. Do you want to be with him? I don't know. Maybe. It's new. I need time to figure it out. I nodded. The noise inside my chest narrowed into a single clear thought. Okay. What do you mean, okay? She asked, confused, as if I skipped part of the argument she expected. You should figure it out. I stood and walked toward the bedroom. Where are you going? She asked sharply. I didn't answer. I took my old duffel bag from the closet shelf and went to my dresser. Socks, boxers, t-shirts, jeans. I placed everything inside without folding. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice rising. I went to the bathroom. Toothbrush, razor, deodorant, spare contacts. I dropped them into the toiletry kit. "Stop it," she said, following me. "Stop this now. You're packing? You're going to leave over this?" I opened the suitcase from the hallway and transferred the contents. Work clothes, shoes, portfolio. "Leo, talk to me. It was just sex. You're overreacting." I finally looked at her. The confidence was still there, but it was breaking, revealing fear. She couldn't control the situation if I refused to play my role. "Say something," she shouted. I took a slow breath. The thought in my head was clear: don't engage, just leave. "I need to understand," I said calmly. "So you didn't mean to hurt me?" "Of course not," she said, laughing nervously. God. That laugh was meant to minimize my reaction, to frame my pain as unreasonable. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "I just didn't care enough not to. That was it. Not cruelty, just complete indifference. 5 years of trust and commitment weren't worth the effort of restraint." Something settled in me then. Final. I zipped the suitcase shut. The sound was decisive. I picked it up, slung my laptop bag over my shoulder, and walked toward the door. She stepped in front of me. "You're really leaving? Where will you go?" I looked at her without emotion. The woman I loved was gone. What remained was only what she left behind. "I didn't mean to leave you," I said evenly. "I just don't care enough not to." Her face drained of color. She said nothing. I stepped around her and opened the door. I didn't look back. I closed it gently behind me. It clicked shut, quiet and final. The hotel room smelled of citrus cleaner and emptiness. I'd chosen the cheapest place near the airport. I sat on the edge of the bed with my bags beside me. The noise in my chest faded into silence. I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just absence. I ordered room service at 2 a.m. and ate without tasting it. I watched infomercials until sunrise. In the morning light, memories surfaced. Not the good ones. Instead, a moment from 2 years earlier. Maya holding a positive pregnancy test, crying. We were scared. I held her and said we'd figure it out together. A week later, the miscarriage. I took time off work. I cooked, comforted her, handled calls, and stayed with her through the nights. When she finally steadied, she told me she didn't know what she'd do without me. I built myself around that sentence. Now, sitting alone, the irony was clear. The one who stayed was labeled absent. The foundation was useful until someone wanted something new. My thoughts shifted from grief to logistics. My phone buzzed with messages from Maya. Accusations. Demands. Insults. I didn't reply. I opened my banking app and transferred my portion of the bills. I cancelled the vacation payment, the Costa Rica trip I'd planned as an anniversary surprise. Then I sent one message, rewritten until it held no emotion. My belongings will be collected Tuesday afternoon. Your key will be left with Superintendent Lopez. Please remove anything you consider yours before then. Her reply came instantly. You're just giving up. You won't even fight for us. Is this how little I meant to you? I placed the phone face down. That was the final message from her that I ever read. I went through my social media accounts carefully. I removed tags, changed my relationship status to single, unfollowed her, and then calmly blocked her everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, even Spotify. It wasn't anger. It was maintenance. Like removing a source of contamination. Next came the friends. Our shared social circle. I chose 3 people I respected most and sent nearly identical messages. Hey. Just letting you know Maya and I have separated. It was due to infidelity on her part. I don't want to go into details, but I wanted you to hear it directly from me. I'm taking some space, but I value your friendship. Their replies ranged from shock to support to uncomfortable sympathy. I thanked them and didn't continue the conversations. I was building distance quietly, one layer at a time. Tuesday arrived. I hired a task service through an app. Polite, detached strangers in matching polo shirts packed what remained of my belongings, clothes, books, records, and the chef's knives my father gave me. Everything went into storage unit 317. The key was left with Superintendent Lopez. The total cost was $389. It was the best money I'd spent. The next few weeks settled into an unexpectedly calm routine. I extended my stay at the airport hotel, then moved into a furnished sublet downtown, a simple space overlooking other buildings. I worked. I came home. I started running along the river. The steady impact of my feet on the pavement became a form of focus. The quiet in my apartment no longer felt empty. It felt clear. The first indirect consequence came 3 weeks later through Derek, one of the mutual friends I'd contacted. We met for a beer at his suggestion. After his first sip, he shifted uncomfortably. "You've really disappeared," he said. "I've been focusing," I replied. "On what?" "On not living in the past." He nodded, then leaned closer. "I probably shouldn't say this, but things aren't going well with Maya." I took a sip and stayed silent. My lack of response gave him room to continue. Not because I was curious, but because I sensed he needed to speak. "She moved Jake in about a week after you left. Lots of drama. He lost his bartending job, either showed up drunk or didn't show up at all. Sarah said he's got a record. Petty theft, disorderly conduct." I stayed quiet. "And Maya's changed. She posted those new chapter photos, but last week she shared a quote about trusting the wrong people, then deleted it. Sarah saw them arguing in a parking lot. He threw food at her car. I felt a distant kind of pity. Detached. Like watching a character in a movie make predictable mistakes." "That sounds unstable," I said evenly. "Yeah. You dodged a bullet." I didn't agree or disagree. A bullet implies an attack. This felt more like stepping away from a collapsing structure before it fell. That night, back in my sublet, my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Leo, it's Maya. I know you blocked me. I made a huge mistake. Can we talk? I'm sorry for what I said. For what I did. I'm so sorry." The message sat on the screen. I felt nothing. No rush, no relief, no pull. Her apology landed without impact. I didn't respond. I didn't block the number either. I simply dismissed the notification. The room went quiet again, and for the first time since that night, the silence felt fully mine. The silence wasn't strategy. It was simply who I had become. Her words entered my life and faded without effect. I didn't feel triumphant or justified. I felt free. Not because anything broke dramatically, but because I realized there was nothing holding me anymore. My life began filling again, not with noise, but with purpose. I enrolled in a woodworking class at the community center, something I'd mentioned before and she'd dismissed as pointless. A prior restraining order violation involving another ex. This wasn't an exception. It was a pattern. Maya hadn't chosen excitement. She stepped onto known instability. Later, my phone rang from a local number. I let it go to voicemail. When I listened, it was Maya again. Not apologetic this time. Her voice was harsh and furious. "Fine. You win. You're the calm martyr. I'm the villain. But you were never capable of real love. Real love forgives. It fights. You just leave. You're a polite ghost. I lost everything. And you won't even tell me I deserved it. You're a coward. A cold, heartless coward. I'm better off. I set the phone down. The message ended with a dull crash, as if something had been thrown, followed by crying, then the dial tone. I saved the voicemail, not out of emotion, but as a reference point. This was the real core. When remorse failed to provoke a response, what surfaced was anger, anger rooted in the belief that someone else should carry the weight of her consequences. Whatever softness remained in me hardened completely. She had shown me who she was twice. First through indifference, then through rage. I accepted both. That weekend, I finished the maple serving board. I oiled it until the grain stood out, warm and deep. Ben came over, and I grilled steaks. We ate using the board I'd made. Sitting on the small balcony of my sublet, city lights stretching out before us, a deep and steady calm settled in. The noise of my past felt far away, fading. In the present, I was building something solid. One careful cut, one steady day at a time. I knew then that the final act wasn't mine to perform. Still, I was certain she would try once more to pull me back into her story. And I was equally certain I would have nothing left to say. 6 months to the day after I left, I was waiting for a call to do at the Grind, a coffee shop near my new office. The sublet was long gone. I now lived in a bright, modern apartment overlooking the river, with room for a real workshop. The maple board had been the first of many projects. The quiet there belonged to me, filled either with music or the focused silence of making something by hand. Ben was running late, so I ordered first and scrolled through design sketches for a custom bookcase on my phone. I felt grounded. Not the fragile calm of a temporary shelter, but a stable, earned peace. The bell over the door rang. I looked up without thinking. It was Maya. She stood just inside the entrance, framed by the grey afternoon light. She looked smaller. The carefree woman who once laughed at my pain was gone. This version was thinner, shoulders folded inward beneath a coat that looked too large. Her eyes searched the room, then landed on me and widened. Her face shifted quickly, surprise, hope, calculation, then shame. I observed it with distance, like watching something unfold without involvement. I felt nothing. She walked straight toward me. My table was by the window. No indirect approach. No uncertainty. "Leo," she said. Her voice sounded rough, strained. I gave a slow nod. "Maya." She flinched at the lack of emotion. That neutrality seemed harder for her than anger. "You look really good," she said. It was true. Running and working with my hands had changed me. The tension she brought into my life was gone. I looked rested. "Thank you," I replied, as if responding to a casual remark from a stranger. "Can I?" She gestured to the empty chair. "I'm waiting for a friend." It wasn't a rejection or permission, just a fact. "Just for a minute, please." The word, please, sounded fragile. I inclined my head slightly. She sat, perched on the edge of the chair. Her hands twisted a napkin. She looked everywhere except at me. My expression stayed calm and steady. "I don't know where to start," she said, taking a shaky breath. Everything fell apart. "What I said to you that night, it was the worst thing I've ever said. It wasn't true. I was trying to hurt you because I felt guilty. I was a coward. I listened without reacting. No encouragement, no interruption." Her words landed and disappeared. "Jake was a con artist. He took money. He hit me." She said this quickly, as if offering it for effect. My expression didn't change. "He's in jail now, I think for a long time. And I'm alone. My friends don't understand. Lacey just says she warned me. Chelsea's tired of hearing it." She gave a weak laugh. "I'm in therapy. I really am. I'm doing the work." She finally looked at me, searching for something familiar. She found nothing but calm distance. "I've replayed that night over and over," she whispered. "I was selfish and cruel. I threw away the best thing I ever had because I was bored and someone gave me shallow attention. I'm sorry, for cheating, for the words, for making you feel small. You were everything. The barista called my name. I stood, picked up my coffee, and returned to the table. I didn't offer to get her anything. I took a slow sip, letting the bitterness anchor me in the moment. She gathered herself. Is there any chance, just coffee sometime? Just to talk? I'd understand if you never forgive me. I'd take anything. Just a chance to show I've changed. This was her final attempt. Complete vulnerability. Ownership. Promises. It was convincing. It might have worked on the person I used to be. I set my cup down gently and looked at her clearly. Not as someone from my past, but as a person facing the results of her own choices. You told me the truth that night, I said evenly. You didn't care enough. That wasn't cruelty. It was honesty. She started to respond, but I continued. That truth gave me the clarity to leave. It was the only thing you gave me at the end that helped me move forward. I paused. I don't say this to hurt you. But that same truth means I don't care enough to reopen it. There's nothing left to rebuild. Only what's already burned. Her face fell. The hope drained away. So that's it, she asked quietly. You don't feel anything? I feel peace, I said. It was the most honest answer I had. I hope therapy helps you find the same. At that moment, Ben walked in and spotted me. He gave a small wave, noticed Maya briefly, then looked back to me with a raised brow. I smiled at him, a genuine smile, and turned back to her. My friend's here. I need to go. I stood and picked up my coffee. Take care of yourself, Maya. It was a polite, final goodbye. I walked toward Ben. I heard her chair move, a broken sound behind me. I didn't turn around. Ben clapped my shoulder. You good? Never better, I said, and meant it. As we stepped into the cool afternoon air, I didn't wonder about her reaction. I didn't feel her presence behind me. I had already moved on months ago. The person she was pleading for no longer existed. He left quietly one night. In his place was someone she would never know, someone who had built a life piece by piece, grounded in calm and dignity, far from the noise of her consequences. The final thread was cut without anger, without volume, but with a simple, steady truth. And the silence that followed was finally, completely mine. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Share your thoughts about this story in the comments below.